and Actron. I'm coming through the BSU campus in a way that I don't ordinarily go. I've had to discover this route. The way that I ordinarily go now has a couple of dismount zones, which goes in front of the Catherine Albertson Library. On your left, excuse me. Thank you. Some guys over there playing tennis. I have to get this serpentine route in between some buildings and residence halls to get where I ordinarily need to get onto the Greenbelt. It is a different set of scenes. But I'm heading out. Oh, there's somebody in some sort of costume. Maybe you can see just how circuitous this route is. But I wanted to get out and investigate a couple of spots along the Greenbelt that are going southeast. There has been some repairs. There's been a repair at the Lockers Creek Bridge. They finally managed to get that repaired. It took about, I don't know, maybe 4 months. It wasn't available. And it's right along here. It'll be coming up very soon. And just beyond the Red River Bridge, which I will point out again, have been more repairs along the pavement to the Greenbelt. I want to see how far along that stretch of Phase 1 has been repaired, because Phase 2 is still under construction, and I want to see just how far I can get, or see how far I can get before I get a detour that will go out to Barber Park. So I'm going to be going out in that direction while the sun is behind me, because on the way back, the sun is going to be right in front of me, and that is not a great way to shoot movies or stills. It'd be great if we had just a little bit of cloud cover. The wind is getting up, as it sometimes does near the end of the day. The air begins to cool and it falls down and it pushes through the valley in kind of a tunnel or tubular effect. This is the Broadway Street underpass. But I have some of our Boise bicycle police. Hi. They do patrol the Greenbelts. I wanted to feature things about safety again. I'm always talking about safety or thinking about it. And to that end, I've decided to get an Apple Watch because it has several safety features, many safety features actually. This is one of the places that the bridge was repaired. I'm going over it right this second. Hi. That's going to need some more repair later, but they got the middle part repaired. So I've been looking into an Apple Watch, the Series 8. And the reason I'm looking into the Series 8 is because it's more affordable than the newest one. It's gone up to Series 10. Series 10 just came out. And there's some features about the Series 8 Apple Watch that aren't in the Series 9 or the Series 10. The Series 8 is more feature rich than either of those newer ones, and it's more feature rich than the Apple Watch 7. So I did quite a bit of shopping and managed to find one at the price and the color and the style that I wanted. I got it in the Starlight aluminum. It's not here yet. It should be here on Tuesday, perhaps Wednesday. Today is Sunday. On your left. But among the things that the Apple Watch will give me is a crash and fall detection, and regarded as an SOS feature. If you fall and you don't think you're okay, first it'll alert you that you've had a fall or a crash, and then it'll ask, are you okay? And then if you hit the SOS button, it'll start phoning the emergency services in the area. The watch has a GPS function, which means it knows where your location is. It'll call emergency services and pinpoint your location as to where you are and tell them about your location and send down emergency services. And the reason this comes to mind is I was just watching a video by one of the people that I follow in the e-bike community. His name is Russ. His channel is called Russ is Right. And he was doing a review for an e-trike. On your left, the Mooncool TK1, electric tricycle TK1. And it's just like the one that I'm going to throw up into the inset area. Nice orange color. And Russ had gone out to California to visit the Mooncool factory, visit his sister who lives out there, and also pick up the e-tricycle and do a ride on it, a test ride and a review. And as he was doing the ride, he ran into a situation, on your left, where he actually had an accident on the e-trike. And he fell off of it really hard and went down the side of an embankment. And he said he hit his face and part of his head so hard. He was wearing a helmet, but he said he actually kind of blacked out momentarily. And I know that he uses an iPhone, which also has the crash and fall SOS detection, but he said that the phone had fallen out of his pocket. And in getting himself upright again and getting reoriented, he said he was very dazed, that he didn't know where the phone was. And he had to kind of crawl down the side of the embankment, and the e-trike had kept on going and was down near a road. And, just like a really bad crash. And, after I looked at that, I thought to myself, I'm really glad that I've ordered this watch. I didn't have conditions like he had. It was a more narrow path than what it is right here. This would be, what he was on would have been like one lane of this. This is a dual lane, left and right. But it would have been just as wide as one lane here. And it was very uneven, and it was up a hill, and he was going down a hill, and he lost his balance, and the backside of one of the wheels got off the trail, this is Red River Bridge. Whoa. Okay, thank you. Sorry. I used to be a pro photographer. I know what kind of a pain in the butt this kind of has to be. I was a pro for many years. Oh, sorry about that. Photobomb somebody shot. This is still a bumpy spot along here. They've not repaired this. But the thing about an e-tricycle is you got to get used to it. Number one, the backside of it is going to be wider, and your awareness of where those two back wheels are might not be the same as what you've been used to with a classic bicycle. And the thing about an e-tricycle, people seem to think, well, I'm going to be safer on it. And that's not really the case. And what people have discovered, unless you're getting one of the e-trikes that has an independent suspension. In other words, each wheel is suspended independently. Most of them are single axle that goes along the back, and that single axle doesn't really prevent the wheels from tipping, and the e-tricycles are more likely to tip over, actually. And that's what happened to him. He got one side of it off. He got one wheel off the path, and it fell over. So the wind is getting up here. I don't know if it's going to blow out my microphone. I hope not. So that gave me a secondary good feeling about ordering the Apple Watch, because, you know, it could happen while I'm doing precisely what I'm happening right now. And I could have fallen somewhere and the phone could go flying in one direction and me another. But the Apple Watch is going to be strapped onto me. And I might not be alert enough after a crash like that to understand where the phone has gone, the way Russ said that it happened to him. And there's some fancy e-scooters there. Good points for safety with those helmets. But the Apple Watch has a lot of other health monitoring, tracking mechanisms. Okay, I was hoping this was going to be one of the areas that they fixed, but it hasn't come along yet. I'm going to go far and try to discover where they did do it. This is near the golf course. But the Apple Watch will monitor your heart activity and alert you if, for instance, you have atrial fibrillation, if you go into an episode of AFib. And it will also do an ECG, electrocardiogram. It will detect more types of unusual heart rhythms other than just AFib, and report it to you. So I do know that occasionally I have an issue with AFib. I ordinarily can tell when it's happening, but to be able to see it and track it, you know, it's possible I could be going in and out of AFib and not knowing it. It's a little difficult to think that that might be the issue, but I have heard of it. It would be nice to know that I've got some kind of device that will track that. It will also track blood oxygen level. The Series 8 still has the blood oxygen level tracking info. It will track sleep. It will do a sleep monitor function, which will let you know how much time you spent in REM sleep, core sleep, and deep sleep. And the way it does this is by measuring your heart rate. It also measures your heart rate and will give you a report on how fast or how slow your heart rate is. But the way it works with the sleep function is that it measures the movements that you're making while you're in the bed during a time that you have selected as a sleep cycle. This along with your heart rate, and it determines your REM sleep, core sleep, and deep sleep. So that's another one of the features. I know there's about 3 or 4 other features in terms of health monitoring that it tracks. Body temperature, I believe, is one of them. And it will send you alerts. It also will let you articulate the watch with the phone, pair the watch with the phone, and if you've got Wi-Fi dialing of your phone set up and you're near a Wi-Fi source, for instance, you can send and receive telephone calls, send and receive text messages, and do other things like remotely trigger the camera, which in some cases for me would be kind of a handy thing to do. If, for instance, I wanted to turn off this camera the way it is right now, I wouldn't have to reach over and maybe do something that's less than safe. I don't know. I'll have to see how that works. So anyway, that's what's new for me. The watching that video by Russ is right, seeing him take that really bad fall, and knowing that the watch that he had, which he recently reviewed, which was not an Apple Watch, it had some interesting health functions, but it didn't, as far as I know, have that crash and fall detection or the SOS emergency call detection. But this one I've got coming on Tuesday will. So I feel better about making that decision now. I have only come close to wiping out maybe a couple of times. Once I was out on a day not completely unlike today. It was maybe a little more windy. The wind got in my eyes and I started tearing up and I couldn't see where I was going and I started drifting off to the edge like this. And I was about to run off the edge and I went to hit my brakes and I hit the bell instead. And then I decided that I'd put my feet down to effect the stop, and when I did that, one of the pedals on the bike while I was trying to stop hit the back of my leg. And I had a pretty bad bruise there for a couple of months. I didn't wipe out or fall, but you know, I go out sometimes, and if I go one direction, this direction toward Barber Park, I'll be 5.5 miles away from the center of town. Hi. So if I were to fall, who would know? I mean, I would know, but if it happened and I got separated from my phone, I'd still have the watch. So it's beginning to make more sense to me now after watching somebody else's mishap. Well, I really didn't know where I was going to encounter this repair. Maybe I'll turn the camera off for a while and turn it back on when I see the repair coming up. Well, I'm approaching my turn to either go to the right to go to Barber Park, or if I went to the left, I'd be going to Harris Ranch. And I don't want to go to Harris Ranch. I want to make a loop inside Barber Park again and see what's taking place or not taking place. I have a feeling, I could be wrong, the rafting season might be closed. Well, it kind of looks like maybe the rafting season has come and gone. It's a little chilly right at the moment with this wind going on. It's probably about 74 degrees, but closer to the water it's going to be cooler. I'm going to make a loop around the nature trail and then head back. I have to say, though, I did not see what I thought was going to be a stretch of the trail that had been repaired. Well, getting started again. I just put on my lightweight high-vis jacket. It's by Outto. O-U-T-T-O, Outto, one word. I'll put a picture of it up in the inside area. I can zip out the sleeves and wear it over something heavier, like a more insulated jacket. This is very lightweight, and it's just perfect for this time of year. Earlier today, I'm thinking, man, I don't know if it's going to get cooler or not. I was out doing errands, and it seemed a little more warm than I would have wanted to wear a jacket, but it's just right at this point. Come up on BSU again, Boise State University. We say Boise with an S, not a Z. You don't have to be here very long before somebody stops you and says, "Oh, it's Boise." Oh, yes. Well, beginning my re-entry zone here. You know, that front brake has always squeaked ever since I've had this bike. If I had a way to get this bike upside down and look at it, I might understand why, but I don't. It's not terrible. When it starts doing that, there are some things that can be done. Get up to about 10 or 12 miles an hour, and then while you got a really good speed there, hit the brakes really hard. 2 or 3 times. Do that 3 or 4 times. That's called bedding. Bedding in the brakes. Help you get rid of some of that judder. Going by the tennis courts again. Even though it's Sunday, there's still students out. There was a big game here last night, and it was just flooded with people walking. Quite the scene. Talking about whatever. Well, I'm going to call it a wrap right here. I hope you're going to have a great week.